Hello, everybody. Welcome to the last episode of the Race Driver Coach Show for this season. I don't know if you want me to do another season, you got to let me know. But I thought we'd just finish off with a nice little sit down um, to finish the season off. Just got back, looking a bit rough actually. Just got back from Abu Dhabi and it was a special event. I don't know if you watched it. But it was obviously Norris versus Verstappen for the finale, and it was a climax, but it wasn't. But still, I don't know who you supported, but it was a great spectacle to be honest. Now, some things I want to share first before we get into any questions. By the way, ask your questions because this is the last chance. This is the last episode of the season, and it's episode 39 of the season. I can't believe I've done 39 Mondays in a row without missing one. So if there's a lesson in discipline, this is it. I got back, I'm jet lagged, and I'm still doing a video. And I'm not doing it to blag or to brag. I just want to lead by example. So 7th of March, I think it is. Yeah, 7th of March, the first one was. So I'll start at the beginning, just so if you don't know. I'll start at the beginning of the F1 season and I'll finish at the end. And then in the winter, obviously, I'm working away with my drivers. So it's just gives everyone time off, basically, from my face and my voice. So yeah, Abu Dhabi was amazing. It's like, I would put up a video, but I don't have to screen share. It was like the Monaco of the Middle East. Ridiculous amount of yachts, amount of money that's there. And I was told, actually, while I was there, there's over 300 sponsors in F1 now. 300 main sponsors on cars, on drivers, and it equates to around $2.9 billion. And you can imagine that's a heck of a lot of money that's flying around. $2,900 million. And it just shows you what Netflix can do, by the way, because that's obviously put the sport back up there and making it a growing sport in countries it wasn't before. But it's so healthy. F1 is ridiculously healthy at the top, which does kind of bleed down to the people that watch this show. Obviously, there's F1 drivers that watch this show, probably. I know mine do now and then because I force them. But it should bleed down. Obviously, the top guys take it all, most of it, but the system does bleed down into junior programs, to looking for the next talent. So if you're a driver watching this and you're kind of climbing the F1 ladder, rest assured, if you're winning, there is more support out there if you ask enough people now than ever before. I know it's more money. I know that we're charging, I don't. The industry is charging drivers like over €1 million now for F4 because you do UAE, you do testing, you do the championship itself. It's ridiculous. And teams won't let you just sign up for the championship. Oh, no, you got to do it all. You got to do all the UAE if you want to go with the top team. So they kind of got you. And there's loads of millionaires just throwing money at it for their sons to race and their daughters to race. It's ridiculous. But there are F4 championships out there, like the British one, which is still bloody expensive, but it's nowhere near that price. And there's in the States, there's F4 championships that are nowhere near that price. So don't worry, it's not all like that. But if you are peacocking, if you are standing out and you're winning, there are people there with money looking for drivers now. And I was speaking to an F2 team recently at this Abu Dhabi race, actually. And he was saying it's just really hard to spot the talent. You know, we're desperate to find drivers because there's loads of drivers with money and they're all pretty quick. But the ones that are really quick are usually the ones without money. So we're looking now for anyone who's kind of standing out, but doesn't seem to have the finance. Chicken and the egg, right? It's difficult to stand out if you ain't got the finance because you can't afford to race. But if you're standing out in a smaller championship and you're making enough noise, talking to enough people, things can happen. And I know it can. I mean, look at two drivers I've worked with in the past, Liam Lawson and Esteban Ocon, funny enough, a teammate of a driver I'm with now. Both of them could not afford to get to F1. I want to just hit that home. Both of them. In fact, Esteban Ocon, the parents, him, when he was a kid, racing karts, they were living in a caravan. Get that through your head. Living in a caravan racing karts, but they just got the attention of Gwen LeGroux, who you might know. I worked with him on the program. He's with Mercedes now. Spotted him. Gravity, which was a foundation that paid for drivers back then. That's who I used to work for. I was a sporting director for. We put money behind Esteban, and look at him now. He's been in F1 for 9 seasons or something. He's our teammate, small world. But he had nothing, but he just kept winning. So honestly, there is a way, but it's like winning the lottery in a way, but you've got to also be good. So you've got to be really good. You got to make sure that you're winning, and then the people spot you. So I know it's ridiculously hard to get in them top 20, 22 seats. It's soon going to be in F1. But if you're climbing the ladder, just shoot for it anyway. Because if you miss and you still end up racing GTs and making a good living out of it, it's a wonderful life to be a race driver. So everyone out there, go for it, please. But anyway, we had some sponsor meetings while we were out there, even though I was there. I'm there as a coach. I'm not there as a sponsor, but the management of Oliver Behrman, who I'm with, we had some sponsor meetings for Ollie for next year and stuff. It's just thriving. So there's people out there looking to sponsor drivers. That's all I'm saying. Right. So what I want to use today for is just to answer some questions, just pick my brains on anything racing orientated, whether it's F1 or what, something relevant to you, or even if it's not, something completely different. Give me some questions and I'll start to answer them, and we can just pick our way through, and it'll take as long as it has to. And also, I want to give a prize to somebody, anybody who's watching this, and I'll keep reminding people, I'll pick something. I'm looking in the background of my thing now. I'll pick something that I can give away that I do want to keep, but I'll give it away anyway. I reckon, I don't think they'll mind if I give away this very limited edition. It's a Haas F1 MoneyGram, brand new with tags cap that was given to me. But I'm going to give it to you because you're just such avid watchers, and thank you very much. It's from Austin. It's a really cool one, actually. So I'm just going to get to the end of this video, and I'll ask you to say whether you want it or not, and I'll pick somebody. Then I'll contact you after. We'll do it at the end, okay? So I'd like to wear it, but I'll put it somewhere. I'll keep reminding you. I'm going to send you that. So anyway, a little gift for watching, because I do appreciate it. So what questions have you got? I've got one. See, this is how many people watch this. What do you think is better, to contact teams and do all the negotiations yourself, or get a manager? Good question, actually, because it depends on the team that you're actually contacting. Because some prefer just to talk to a driver and they hate agents. Some prefer to talk to an agent, but they don't really like talking to parents, because parents can obviously have their rose-tinted glasses on, right? So I would say that there's no preference, but if you need help and you're paying a manager like 20K to 100K per year, dollars, because they charge, whatever they charge, and some include a fitness trainer, some include a coach with it, and all this stuff. But anyway, whatever you're paying them, it's their job to be calling around and finding out what seats are available. They're calling all the teams. They're saying, look, they'll say to you, right, we've got these 4 teams that have got cars available. It's cost this much. This one's got the championship winning car, and I can get you. This is where a management company can be good. I'm going to get you the best engineer in the team. I'm going to get you the car that came 4th in the championship, so it's a good car. I'm going to get you one of the best mechanics in the team. That's what we're going to put in the contract, and I'm going to make sure the contract is good, so you're not getting ripped off. Because you get things like, say if it's a 200 grand championship, 100 grand to make it easier, 100 grand championship, and they'll do payments, a payment plan. You sign in November or December or January, and you pay up like 30K upfront as soon as you sign the dotted line. So the team have got 30K as soon as you signed. You haven't touched the car yet. And then they'll do a payment structure where by the time you're kind of halfway through the year, you're fully paid up. So they front load it. They front load it to make sure that they can spend money on rebuilding the car for the season, get all the things in place. And also, if you do run off halfway through the season, they've got all your money. So a team will normally front load it, but you don't want to front load it too much. So you pay pretty much all of it before the season starts. That's where a manager really comes in. So it's not really a case of who's better to contact the team. A good manager will make sure that you're not going to get ripped off and that you get looked after in the team, and it's all in there in the contract. Every eventuality possible is covered legally. Now, when you do get into a dispute with a team, it's really difficult because they could be in a different country and you've got to cross borders and a different legal system. So it's how much is a contract really worth? Who knows? But you have performance clauses in there that they must provide a competitive car. Kind of loose, I know, but that's the sort of thing. So I would say a good manager is really valuable. For example, the manager I work with mostly is Chris Harfield, and he's WH Sports. He looks after Oliver Behrman. Now, he works really hard on getting sponsorship because he's got a sponsorship agency as well, high-end one. You know, they put sponsors on the football shirts of big football teams and F1 teams. They sell the big stuff. They find it really difficult, by the way, so don't contact them. They find it really difficult to get sponsorship for small, for drivers and small teams in small championships because there's no value. The big ticket stuff is easier to sell. If you're going to a company and you're asking for like $500,000, but you're going to be on an F1 car or an F1 driver's helmet or a patch on the F1 driver's arm, that's a lot easier to sell than a 20 grand package for Formula 4. It's just the way it is because the exposure and the networking they have at a race weekend. So that's what he sells. Anyway, he's good, or managers like him are good because they go around and they've got a reputation. If they pick up the phone to any team, the team will answer. And because he's a manager with other drivers, the team will want to look after him because he can bring other drivers to them in the future. So if you're going to get a manager, make sure they're good. They're not just some guy who's doing it off their back and never done it before and a bit of a shark if you get a bad feeling. So it's my really long-winded way of saying it's better for a manager to call as long as you trust them. Really important. Because if they're a bit of a snake, what they'll do is they'll get a drive for 100 grand. The team will say it's 100 grand. They go, can you throw us 20 grand for me bringing the driver to you? So your manager's earning 20K off you. You also pay the manager. They're getting commission off the team. And everyone's just getting backhanders. So it's the sport. It is a sport that's like that. Everyone's just trying to earn money off the driver. The driver's the poor person that's paying. Every bugger's earning money off them. So you do a deal with the devil with a lot of managers. If you don't mind that, if you think, right, he's probably taking a backhander, or she is, but they're getting me a drive that's cheaper than if I phoned up myself. Okay, I can sleep with that. But just know that it is a sharky world out there. So get someone you trust, and if they're good, they'll save you so much money. So it's a bit of a difficult question to answer, but if you get a good one, it's really cool. Right. Next question. When networking, what should be the top 3 non-negotiables? Explain that a bit more. Send in another one because I know what you mean. Also, what are the things that a driver should focus on to stand out? I think to stand out, it's more of a personality thing. Again, mentioned him to death already in this video. Sorry. But if you look at an Oliver Behrman, right? It's a kid there that is smiling all the time. He's loving his driving. He motivates people. So before getting in the car, he's high-fiving and handshaking every single mechanic. Every single session he does this, right? And it's not like to be fake. He just loves it. He brings the team together. Come on, let's do it. And he'll go around the whole garage, and they're uplifted on his half of the garage. I'm not saying they're not on Esteban's side, but because I don't watch that side. I'm watching mine or his. They're all ready. They're all geared up. They want him to win. And he's done that throughout his career. So everyone who works with him is like, I just love working with Ollie because he brings energy. So in his younger days, when like an F1 junior program would call the race team to say, what do you think of Oliver Behrman? They don't have to say he's quick. They don't have to say he's won 7 races or whatever, because they can see that. What's more important to them, or the first thing they say, is his character. And more importantly, does he deserve, in my eyes as a team owner, if I was a team owner, does he deserve to get the back in? Do I want to help him out? And to be honest, that's what really helps you stand out. It's a people sport. You might have heard me say this before if you watched my videos, but it's people that are going to say yes. So if you can win people over and make people, I won't say just like you, but they want you to do well, it's amazing how the phone rings. It's amazing how when that team has got a spare car at a test because some drivers let them down last second, but they're paid up, they're thinking of a driver to put in the car for the day, they'll call you. So I think standing out is obviously results. You've got to be fast, yes, but it's a real personal thing. That's why you get some drivers who win, but they never really get the opportunities. They could win F2, but they never make it quite to F1. When you got drivers that are finishing like 10th, 8th, and they make it to F1, it's like, oh, there's something different there. They probably did good in the F1 car when they had one off test, but it's just the character. They want that person in the car. They just feel them. So that's really hard to teach. But I would say that it's like anything really. If you want to run a company and you got to stand out, it's you as the person that people are investing in. If you're going to Shark Tank, if you're going to Dragon's Den, you've got this widget that you're selling. They're really thinking, well, if the widget doesn't really work, I bet this person's next idea is going to be good because I see potential in this person. That's kind of what they see with race drivers. Hard to manufacture, but I'd say you've got to be an expert at winning people over and knocking on doors, being charismatic and giving them the confidence that you're going to give it everything. Like work ethic is massive. They can see that it really means a lot to you and you're emotionally stable as well. Not the sort of person who flies off the handle, blames the car all the time, all this stuff when you're not quick. They'll want you in the team. That is the biggest thing I would say that teams want, apart from the cash and the results. So yeah, it's all there. It's a whole package. Okay, thanks for the detailed answer. I was asking more about F4 and regional level. Sorry, what did you ask about? Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, regional level, it's the same thing. Honestly, it's if you got a manager, do it. If not, call yourself. Call the teams yourself. What's the best way to get recognized as a newcomer? Exactly what I've just said. You get out there, you show straight away that you've got the right attitude. You turn up, you lift the atmosphere in a team. You're not just quiet and I'm really nervous. No, I'm going to get out there. I'm going to grab this car by the scruff of the neck and I'm going to ring it. And you come in, you give your feedback on the car. You really self-critical, like, yeah, I sucked at turn 4. I'm going to make sure I brake later there. And then you do brake later there. You're not just saying it. That's the kind of person that is going to always makes a good impression. Right. Loving the recent reels. Good. I'm glad you're liking the recent reels because I've basically collected about 50 of them and I'm just going to do them every single day until I run out of them. So that's good. I'm glad you're liking them. I didn't even know if people were seeing them much. Right. Rephrasing. All right. Give me another question, somebody. Remember, I'm going to give away this limited edition Austin Haas F1 cap to someone at the end. And I'm going to ask you who wants it. Get in touch with see how do I build a strong relationship with them. Best ways of building strong relationships with teams and sponsors is just get out there and be charismatic. It sounds silly, but I had numerous people this weekend actually in Abu Dhabi where it seems like it's their job just to go around connecting people. And it's the person there that looks very charismatic, seems to know everybody, to just be the character. Honestly, it's everything. Right, Enzo, do you know any championship in Spain that I could start with? Because I'm 15. I think if you can't afford the main championship, the winter series of F4 is good. It's not ridiculously priced. It's one of the cheapest F4 championships out there, and you can run with a team that's pretty, cheaper at the back of the grid, but you can actually wheel that thing anywhere. I'd say look for Formula Ford championships as well. Formula Ford, not Formula 4. And if not, then anything like a Citroen Saxo, a Ford Fiesta, a Mini, MX-5s. You look for club racing that costs 20, 30 grand, and you just figure out how to get that 20, 30 grand. I know that anyone watching this stream has got the capability of raising that sort of money. Definitely. because we've got the internet. You can buy and sell things, get some merchandise, sell it on eBay, collect, do anything you can, get a job, get 2 jobs, get 3 jobs. You can get that if you work your tail off for 2 or 3 years. I know, scary, right? You're not going to be racing for 2 or 3 years, but if you collect that money, you can spend it on something that's ridiculously cheap, get the results, get sponsors on the car, giving you 100 euros for the next year, and you build. I think it's when you're in a rush. I think it's when you're thinking, right, I've got to race something and I want to be in an F4 championship now, next year, and I'm starting from zero with no contacts and no history. Like I did this. I spent years shooting for something too big, getting about $10 towards it, and then not racing anything. It's like, douche. It wasn't until I thought, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to race Fiat Unos. You won't even know what that is. It's like a Fiat, it's like a Cinquecento. I'm going to race one of them. I can buy one for $2,000. Just run it on my site, get a trailer, and I'm going to do it. And it wasn't until I started to think like that, and then I found Formula Ford for $3,000 or $4,000, I think it was, an absolute SHIT box, terrible car, but I got it, and I borrowed a trailer off someone, got a tow hitch on the back of the car, and off I went. And I started my journey, and honestly, it was terrible. I think I got 10th in the championship, which was amazing somehow, and then won the championship in the second year in a different car because someone offered me one because they saw that I was doing pretty all right. But if I kept aiming for the first step being that 100 grand, 200 grand when I was a working class kid, delivering pizzas for £1.50 per pizza I delivered, per drop, per delivery. I was the Deliveroo guy, wanted to be an F1 driver. If I didn't start smaller, I wouldn't have got on the grid at all, because I never raised hundreds of thousands. I just got the cheap sponsorship, got the cheap championships, got loads of little sponsors, won the championship in the second year, and just got free or very cheap drives from then on in like the F3 car, not the main F3, just the small British one, secondary British one. Then I did Clio Cup, and all this was next to nothing now. It was other people's money because they just wanted me to be in their car, which is the bit that I just talked about, GTs and things like that. So I didn't pay much. And that's probably the route a lot of people are going to have to take. And it's still possible now, by the way. It's still exactly the same. Club racing's still there. It's very big. There's lots. It's full. If you go to the 750 Motor Club, you'll see so many championships there that are for working class people. It's still tens, of course, but you can buy the car and run it yourself and just do the races you can afford. You know, get your mate to work on it with you. You'll make some horrendous mistakes, but it's the way you can race, and then you just build. And honestly, even if you're racing a Fiesta, it sounds crap because it's not F1, of course. But no matter what you're racing, it's being on that track. It fulfills you, and you build your craft, you build your sales skills, and who knows where it can go if you're good enough. So I really say just start small. And I know there's so many countries that haven't got club racing. But think about, how can I get to a country that has, like America has, most of Europe has, Australia has, Asia has. So there are, but they're just crap. They're just crap championships, but it's better than nothing, right? So I'd do that. Right, where am I up to now? Enzo, do you have a championship? Yes, Spain. I'm karting now, and my pace is around 3 seconds off state pace on the track, and my tutor said it wants me to club team. Is it good start for competitive history? Yeah, just do it. 3 seconds off, right? If you're 3 seconds off in a kart, think about the one thing, everybody, when you like seconds off and you're not tenths off, you think, she's 3 seconds off. It sounds good, but actually that's a long way in a kart. Because at high standard, if you're 2/10 off, you're bloody 12th. So it's like, right, it's going to be a chunky thing. It's going to be an overall global thing. When you're seconds off, 1 second, when you get to 1 second, like, it's pretty damn close now. If you think what 1 second is after a lap, it's not far, right? 3 seconds, you'll be doing one thing. And if you change that one thing, you jump a second. And it'll be a global thing that penetrates or influences different corners. It could be generally, I'm just not braking deep enough. and that takes care of 4 corners. Bang, you found a second. So I would say get someone to look at your driving, and it could be just bravery. It could be, I'm not thinking about the exits early enough. I'm charging in, coming out slow. I'm letting the engine die in general. There'll be one thing that gaps you, gets you really close, and it'll be so basic. It's unbelievable. So find out what that is first. Find out what that one thing is that influences different corners or help you improve different corners. Focus on that just for one day until you move on to the next thing, and it become thinner and thinner, smaller and smaller, and more precise about what you're actually going to focus on. But think of a chunky thing and get someone to watch you, video you compared to the other drivers. Put the videos side by side, and you can see what the differences are. So that'd be good. But yeah, just race, mate. Honestly, do anything you can. Next one. When you're prepping drivers like Ollie or Liam, how important is the visual side of their brand? Many juniors, it's really important actually. But I must admit, there's plenty of drivers that spend time on their social media, do things right, but don't quite get the traction. A bit like me. Don't quite get the traction. Yeah, you get other people who don't have to do much. Like Ollie, I think he did that. I don't know if you saw it when he dressed up as an old person, all in makeup, prosthetics. It just kind of prosthetics, is that the right thing? I think it is. Went into a race and as an old person, and no one knew it was him until the end. You know, the big reveal kind of thing. And that on the quadrant, I think it got one of their top ever videos, more than most of what Lando gets. And it's just because he's got that kind of X factor, Ollie. So whatever he does, it seems to blow up and it becomes natural. And he doesn't even have to work at it. And that makes you sick as a pig, right? When people are like that, it just seems to come. But it is important. I've had drivers in the past that spent a lot of money on their social media. You know, some of the followers are probably fake. Some of the likes are probably bought and all that stuff when you could get away with it. But it did give him brand deals. He had people paying him 20 grand just to talk about a product. And that leads to money and leads to other opportunities, of course. But I think when you've got, it's a horrible thing because it's like being the popular kid on a playground, right? It's crap, I know. But it's ingrained in us that if you research someone and they've got a good following, you think, oh, they must be valuable. If they've got 20 followers, you're like, I'm not sure about this guy or gal. But if they've got 20,000, you're like, that's interesting. They've got eyeballs on them. There must be something about them. So yeah, I'd spend time on the branding. Not so much logo and things like that. That's not really that important. That's trimmings. It's not really, don't spend too much time on that. But just start to create content. And like Gary Vee says, document. So if you're going to try and create a career in motorsport, I'd say document the journey. You know, even the tough times, you got a camera on you. It's like a video diary. You don't care if anyone's watching it, to be fair. Don't even worry. Just talk away like I am now. I'm doing this today. I'm going to go and do a sponsorship proposal and I'm going to show you it after. And then you get 3 people watch it and you just document what you want and what you're doing, sorry. And anything like that is valuable. Just get eyeballs on you and it can lead to things. I promise you. Okay, next one. I have a chance in looking for sponsors to get them into the real. Oh, sorry. Do you think? Oh, sim racers. Now, this is becoming a thing. I've had quite a few questions recently about sim drivers wanting to cross over to the real world. And it sounds like it should work easily. But now the sim world is that big, it's harder to stand out. So before, if you had a stream and you showed yourself on a sim, just like anyone who's doing streams with video games, it caught fire quite quick, especially if you had a personality. You weren't just playing without saying anything. But over recent times, everybody seems to have done it. There's more people now that are really good on sims, and it's harder to stand out. So it's kind of flooded now. So I would say, and it does happen, is if you're going to go the sim route, you've got to treat it as serious as you would if you're going for a real racing career. So if you're thinking, I'm going to go the sim way, your objective has got to be, I want to become the best sim driver in the world. And that doesn't mean Gran Turismo, nothing on a PlayStation. It means get your ass onto iRacing, spend a fortune on something I've got here. You can see it. That sim there. This sim is around, I would say, £4,000, right? You can do it a bit cheaper, but the pedals are like £1,000 because it's Hoosink valve ones, and then the Fanatec's about £1,000, and the bloody gaming PC is about 1,500, so it's actually more than that. So, but if you do that and you spend another few hundred on the iRacing account, which I bet loads of you are now, and you get to a really high rating, you start to join race teams, and you can join Verstappen's team when you're really good, and you start to rub shoulders with these people. That takes probably 3 or 4 years, if you're good, to get to that level. But if you do it, I've noticed it before because I do sim training, and I get drivers when they start, and they're all right, second half, they're crashing here, there, and everywhere. But just because they spend a month on it solidly, like nearly every day for a month, they get to a really good level, and that level keeps going and going until they become like an alien, a robot. And then they're there joining race teams, and they're doing the 24-hour races and stuff. And I've got drivers now earning cash for just being in the top 10 of some of these races. So if you're going to do it right. Get proper kit. I know it costs money, but again, if you're going to spend 3 to 6K on a simulator, it's a lot. But you only normally have to spend that once if everything's new. You don't carry on every single year adding more stuff. You don't need to. But get some good pedals and spend time on iRacing. I think iRacing is the only one I've seen that leads to stuff now because everyone's on there, and you can race against the world's, especially in winter. You'll be racing against Max on there, I promise, if your iRating's high enough. So I'd say, yeah, by all means, do it. Get to a really good level. Stream it so you get some kind of follow-in. Hopefully it gets traction. Think of ways of you can make it interesting for people to watch. Study YouTube, study Mr. Beast, everyone that you can about how to get a YouTube channel really good. And if you make it your craft and you do that solidly for 4 or 5 years, I know it's a long time, but if you can't get into motorsport because it's too expensive, it's another route in, and you can earn money doing it. So it's good, but you never know where the opportunity comes from. Like back in the day, the person who runs Redline, actually, before it was properly Redline, he was good on the sim, and the F3 team I was with offered him a free test just because he was really good on the sim. But this was 10 years ago, so it was kind of novel to be good on the sim then. And he got a free F3 test, like proper F3 test around Barcelona with us. And he was all right. He was probably 4 seconds off, which isn't bad for someone in their first time in a race car. But they kind of knew what to do, sort of. But obviously it's different in the real world. So things do happen. And who knows, if that was a wealthy guy that was running that team and thought, screw it, I'm going to do something different. If he was really quick, it could open up doors. So yeah, I'd never say never. And there's plenty of sim drivers that have done it, gone from their bedroom to the real stuff. So if you're going to do it right. Okay, give me another one. How many could F4 Winter Championship be? No racing history. No. And no. If you haven't got any money, don't think about doing F4. Think about the club stuff because it's still going to be 100 odd grand to do the winter series. It's only 4 rounds. I know, 4 rounds in Spain. I've got drivers doing it, and it is still 6 figures. So it's still bonkers money. It's just cheap compared to what some people are spending. So honestly, stick to the whatever you can afford. Get that Ford Fiesta out. Is it important to have a manager? When I finish this, rewind and watch what I said at the beginning because I've already talked about a manager. It's important, but they've got to be good and they've got to be trustworthy. How does one overcome a plateau when learning race driving? Right, mister. This is obviously my bag because I coach. A plateau, it depends what it is. But I would say if you want to give me a bit more specifics, then by all means do it right now. And we can talk about your actual thing. But a plateau, it's important to know what it's due to. Is it due to I'm actually just not a good race driver and I'm not cut out? Like you think of a parent of yours, no matter how much training you give them, they're never going to be great. Let's be honest. So this is the tough thing to really understand. Motorsport seems like I've just got to drive a car. Surely everyone can do that. It's kind of like typing. Surely if I spend long enough doing it, I'll get fast at it and I'll be all right. I can be the world's best. But there is an element of sport to it. There is an element of mental coding and even DNA that makes you a great race driver. Having to control this car in a really dangerous environment, on the limit, thinking about other things, about my brake shape, what that other driver's doing behind me. Are they attacking me? Are they doing anything? Am I into this corner correct? There's so much mental processing going on that a lot of people can't do it very well. Most of the population can't. And it's really hard for anyone, myself included, to understand that you can't teach everyone this skill, but it's like expecting everybody to be like Roger Federer. And if I was to tell you that, you'd be like, well, no, there's only a few of them in the world. It's the same with race driving, honestly. So when you hit a plateau, I'm not saying this is you, by the way, but when you hit a plateau, sometimes you hit your limit. And it's going to take hundreds of thousands of dollars to just work on that specific thing. So believe me, it is a sport and you've got to be good at it and you've got to have that in it. And I mean, I can tell a driver usually just by watching a couple of corners, like yes or no, potential or not. It is literally like that sometimes. But yeah, your plateau, I'm trail breaking and seem to do anything right, but still don't understand. So, all right, maybe when you hit a plateau, you're hitting a personal plateau. So if I'm told I've got to do something with the car, but I'm too busy thinking about how to go faster myself and going deep, I'm ignoring what the car wants. I'm putting my own intentions, my own wishes, my own desires ahead of reality. This is something now I'm talking to you about, that even F1 drivers, every single level. I've been in NASCAR, Xfinity. I've had a driver in NASCAR actually. I've been in IndyCar, I've been in F1 drivers. Sorry, I'm coaching touring cars, all of them, GTs, and every single top level one. They still have the problem of their reality. So they're looking through this little letterbox, right, in their helmet. They see it from that angle, and they think, "I want to be fast. I want to win. I'm better than that dickhead over there." And this sort of stuff, obviously, is distracting, and it causes you to ignore what the car wants. There's a certain hairpin coming up, and the car wants me to trail brake. Why does it want me to trail brake? Because I've got to keep the weight on the front. So if I'm keeping the brake on, I know I'm teaching you to suck eggs, you know this stuff. If I'm braking, I'm keeping the weight on the front, and it's going to have more grip because the tires are being pushed in, the rear's lighter because all the weight's on the front. Some cars need that. Cars that are set up with massive rotation don't. They just require a brake, a quick turn, and then you come off the brake and it rotates itself. It's amazing, just like this chair. So you have to learn what the car wants in every specific corner, and this is where the skill comes in. You, as a driver, are just there to deliver that. And it's really not sexy. You have to be like an engineer. You have to feel what the tire's doing. You have to feel when the tire's in. You have to be able to take the car to the absolute limit, no matter how you're feeling. So if you hit a plateau, it probably is because you're not really thinking about what the car wants. You're more going through your own emotions and your own way of seeing it, and it creates a false limit. So next time going out there, think about, before you go out, sit with the engineer, sit with the coach, sit with anyone and say, right, what are the rules for this car? How does this car go around this track at the fastest or shortest lap time? And you say, right, it's the sort of car that needs a very heavy hit on the brake. And if you look at the data, the brake, when I hit that brake, it's vertical. It's not just a gentle lean onto the brake, it's a, and it has to have that because all the downforce is on it at high speed. And as you get close to the corner, you release the brake, but it needs to be held all the way to the apex. If that's what the car wants, you do it and you stick to it. And that's all you focus on for that whole day. All I'm doing is one thing. Then you're treating it like a sport. You're exposing your weakness and you're working on that. You're not even thinking about the lap time, to be fair. It's like, I've got to get that brake technique sorted. I don't care about anything else. Remember what basketball players do and any other sport. For the whole 3 hours of their training, they might just be working on free throw constantly, constantly. That one thing over and over again, thousands of times they're throwing it into the net. The 3-point shot, whatever it is, they'll have something specific they're working on. Race drivers don't really do that. They get to a racetrack. What's the lap time I've got to get? Okay. I'll go out and I'll try and chase that lap time. They're not really mastering the craft. So if you go to a test day and you say, all I'm doing is working on one thing and I'm not leaving until I've done that one thing 100 times, just if that's possible, that's how you get over a plateau. It's how you get over anything in life. There's too many people trying to go wide, trying to be good at all these different things instead of going really deep into their craft and just learning that one specific thing, mastering it. Mastering it means doing it till you can't get it wrong. You don't do it until you get it right once. You do it until you can't get it wrong. That's how you master something. And you tick them off one by one. Before you know it, you're improving and the plateau's gone. Long answer. I realize that, but I hope it gets you through. Just come up with your own training plan. That's what a coach does. It's kind of like a coach shouldn't even be looking at the lap time, really. They're just thinking, okay, you won the race. So what? How were you on race starts? What were you like on that first lap? Was your racecraft good? Did you look after the tires well? How was your focus? And they'll find something that wasn't quite great, and then they'll work on that. And that's what you've got to do. Don't need a coach. You can do it yourself on that front. Okay. I'm usually 1.5 seconds off alien pace. Yeah, that's pretty damn good, actually, if it's alien. Competed in esports world championships. Sounds good. Worked on my social media to get relatively big. No club races nearby. No money to fly out. Contacted many people. Nothing worked. How is the breakthrough? So if you competed in the world esports, keep doing that. Win it. Keep growing your social media and have massive patience. And if it's like you've got no money to fly out, you're going to have to save up. There is a way. If your life depended on it, literally, gun to the head of the person you love, and they said, right, you got 5 years to figure this out. You'll be like, 5 years? I want to race now. Again, going back to what I said, don't worry about racing now because you can't. You ain't got the money. Welcome to the real world. Life sucks. So, all right, 5-year plan is going to be X. 2-year plan if you really can't wait. By the time I get 2 years in, I want to have 30K in the account, in my bank account. I don't know what currency you're on. $30,000 or equivalent. I'm going to get a student visa and go to a certain country, and that's where I'm going to race as well as a hobby. How the hell am I going to get 30,000 in the bank? And you obsess over that. Absolutely obsess over it. Do the math. What does that mean you need a week? Per week. How am I going to earn it? I'm going to wash cars. How many cars have I got to wash to earn that money? Do the math and go and wash the cars. There's always a way for you to get that cash in. Again, I keep going back to my own story, even though it was like 20 years ago. It's still the same now, I promise. Racing was too expensive. I was a kid from a bloody council estate. All I did was I got a factory job. I delivered pizzas. I went to race teams and I actually mechanicked on the cars as well, hoping that they give me a test now and then. And they did. I got a few outings in Formula Renault just because I was working on the car. And I said, you know what? I'll work for free this month if you put me in the car. Ridiculously stupid, of course, but that's what I did. So there's always a way. It's just a case of being patient and building and putting the work in. I'm sure anyone, like I said, can get to that 30,000, and you can do a championship in England for that. You can come over, you can fly over, do it for 20 grand, probably less than that, buy a car for 15, race it somehow. It's going to cost about 2 grand a weekend probably to race it. Hopefully there's no damage. And then sell the car at the end for 15 because it probably hold its value. Or if you're winning it, it'll go more. That's what I did as well. So you get that 15 back. So there are ways, but it's a real boring answer, I know, but it's going to take a lot of grit and a lot of work, as you know. You need patience and you need resilience at the same time. All right, other questions. Is Assetto Corsa a great sim as well? Gran Turismo, not a great place to race on. Now, Gran Turismo's all right, but, Jan Mardenborough got a career out of it. I think now he hasn't really got one that much to speak about, but that was because there was an academy set up them days, the racing academy, and he was one of the first. So obviously they made a big deal out of it. There's nothing really like that now. So I'd say iRacing and getting the best at iRacing is still the one. The Seto course is all right, but I see less people on that. All the F1 drivers are on iRacing. All the people earning money and the prizes, it's like 10 grand for these championships and stuff that you can win. They're all on iRacing as far as I can see. Mostly when I speak to drivers, that's the only time they go to a Seto is when they're racing at a specific track using a certain car that's not on iRacing. And then we go on a Seto together to do it on there. So that's the only reason really we go on there. So I'd say iRacing's the one at the minute. Could we ask some questions during the winter break? Yeah, fire them over, mate. No problem. I've been on the sim racing for 1.5 years. I'm a 10th to 3/10 off the top esports driver. Bloody good. I'm not driving for 4 months because I had to fix my PC and I want to compete. Yeah. So it's all about the reps. I notice now, because I've been a bit busy this year, I'm on the sim only when I do sim sessions with drivers. It's probably only about 4 times a week, right? So it's 4 2 hours a week because I'm mostly doing mental training on Zoom. And I would say that because I only do it that often, some weeks it's none, it's zero. Like this week, last week, I think it was 0. I've got 3 sessions in this week. Sorry, last week was 0. I noticed that my driving's gone through the floor. It's crap. And the drivers that I'm coaching now, I have to really push myself to keep up with them. And if I can't keep up with them, obviously I'll do drills. Right, this time we're going to do this, or I'll put less fuel in my car so I can get around it. But I noticed that my level was getting good. Stop doing it, and it goes down again. Then you have to get good again. So it is something that it needs the reps. So you just keep doing them reps. Get back on that horse, because 1 to 3/10 off a top one. Say if Max Verstappen's in the session with you, if you're within a second of him, you're doing well, because that guy's an alien in the car for real and on there. But you'll see when you start to race guys with 10K iRating, if you're in iRacing, you know how hard that is, how long that takes. They are difficult to beat. But if you can just get close to them and consistently close, you'll soon be with them, I promise. But you have to do it every day. It's like every sport. How do you know if you are talented? Only through showing it on track. Big one here, guys. I get a lot of people saying, I've got the desire. I know I've got the skill. I've done a bit of indoor karting. I want to get to F1. Tell me how to do it. I was like that as well. It's delusion. It's like saying, I played a bit of paddle with my mates. I killed them all. I've got the passion. I know I can be the next Nadal, the next Federer. How does that sound? Ridiculous. I know, but I get so many emails saying it. And I used to say it to people before I've even proved it. Self-belief and confidence is one thing. The reality hits when you actually jump in a car next to someone who's good and they absolutely destroy you. And all of a sudden you understand, maybe I'm not that good. So it's something you have to prove. That's how you know you're talented. You can have like tendencies. So I just seem to jump in a car and I'm quick straight away, or a cart. I've got something there. That's a good starting point. But talented, obviously, which means, it's a white, some people don't even like that word, but to be good enough to go all the way, I can't even tell you how difficult that is. And you don't know until you try. You don't know until you've been up against the top ones if you can actually unlock that level. It's something you learn on the go. You don't even know, right? Get this. We as experts don't even know if a driver's good enough to go to F1 when they're in F2. You look at the F2 grid, you don't know who's good, because it's like rental karting, that freaking championship. All of them are, because it depends what team you're in. If all of a sudden you've got, the engines are not all equal, let's be honest. So you got drivers that are not that good kicking the arse of drivers that were really good. Now remember, Oliver Behrman, one of the best drivers, juniors I've seen in 25 years, I'm not saying I'm saying one of. because he's still on his way. He's still growing. He's still young. Yet, where was he? 12th in F2, something like that. Yet the guys at the very front, some of them never even touched an F1 car. Or when they did, they weren't good enough to make the cut. But you just know, you can see through it. But honestly, you just don't. It's so difficult. It's such a hard question. Obviously, there's plenty of drivers in F1 that shouldn't be in F1. There's better drivers out there, I promise you. You know that. They've probably not even done single-seater racing. I've gone off on one a bit, but you only know when you prove it, and you're always proving it to yourself. Like Hamilton's now is trying to prove it. Am I good enough, right? And if someone like that is asking that question, am I talented enough to be at the top? There's no hope for any of us. So yeah, it's you have to prove it, buddy. Honestly, it's not one that you know without actually seeing it for yourself and getting side by side with somebody and going, right, me versus you. Let's do it. Thank you for answering my questions. I think that's no problem. How much is Fiesta's Mazda Saxo? I think you're talking about the UK. Mazda, I did a show on it, an episode on it about 4 seasons ago, I think it was. Just look through my stuff, and it was 20k. So you kind of arrive and drive for that. You don't even own the car. You just pay your just over $1,000 a weekend, and you get the car. You get a mechanic who's mechanicking different cars. Like, it's all under one garage, and on you go. Fill your boots. You need, obviously, the race license, which probably costs about 200, 300. This is like pounds now. We're talking in England. So you go to a race school, you do your ARDS, which is basically your race license. And I'll tell you what, you spend a load on the kit, helmet and stuff. It's probably another $2,000, right? At least boots and all that. And then you're ready to go. So you spend let's call it 3 or 4 grand before you've even got out the door. And then allow for $2,000 per weekend. I think that's 10 races a season. A bit more maybe, and you're in an MX-5, and there's like 80 cars. So they have to do heats and a final, and it's bonkers. It's brilliant. So if you can do that, you can raise that sort of money. Honestly, everybody just get to England and do that. And Germany's got similar, and America has as well with Formula V and Ligier F4 and stuff like that. It's all kind of affordable. Yeah, actually Ligier is probably into the 6 figures. Sorry, but there are plenty. But I think if you were to really hit the money, if you've got 20 and 35 grand pounds, you can do Fiestas and stuff, honestly, because there's people there that are earning their 50k a year wage, then they get taxed and all that. That's enough money to go racing. I think mini racing as well, similar price. So it's possible. Okay, what's the standard path you've seen to get to hypercar? This has changed. Really annoyingly, what's happening now, right? F1's really popular. So you're getting like 44 drivers in F4, just in the Italian one. You've got the American one, you've got the Spanish, you've got the French F4, you've got the British F4 and Australian F4. I think that's still going. Anyway, there's plenty. Asian. So you're getting so many drivers now going through the ranks. This race weekend just gone in Abu Dhabi, I sat down with 2 teams, get this, 2 teams talking about an F3 seat in 2027. I have to talk to them now in order to get a drive in 2027 for one of my drivers. And it's like, that's bonkers. You used to get to now and talk about the next year. And now it's 2 years down. They say it's a little bit early. We don't know what we're doing. And it depends how many drivers we've got to promote from our smaller teams and stuff. But you have to start talking now. So it just goes to show, I'm leading to somewhere, by the way. It shows you how popular the ladder's getting, right? It's mad. All these people, I don't know where these people are getting the money. Hundreds and hundreds of drivers are spending millions. It's bonkers. I don't know where it's coming from. Anyway, shows you how much money's out there. So there is sponsorship out there for you. It's a whole different story. But so you get to the top, you get to F2, a bit like a Vachor. Really good driver, right? Probably could do some good stuff in F1. Who knows? But he's not really going to get in a shot. So he's now going across to WEC to do, or ELMS to do LMP2. So if you're a driver that's gone the normal, I'm going to work up slowly. I'm going to get to GTs. I'm going to do LMP3 and then LMP2, get a team to help me that way. it's okay. But then you got this bloody XF1 driver or F2 driver sidestep in, and they're getting the preferred seats now. So it's getting really difficult. So the prices are going up. So now if you want to race an LMP2, you're talking a mil, which is like F4, even F3 money, good F3 deal money just to do LMP2, and you're one of 3 drivers. And Le Mans itself, that one race weekend can cost you 700 grand per driver. So it's just getting really mad now. So I've got quite a few drivers on that list, on that kind of trajectory. And again, it comes down to winning. If you've got to remain silver, there's different grades, right? There's bronze, silver, gold, platinum. If you're a silver driver, which means you're pretty good, you're not a gentleman. Like I'll be bronze now. If I came back to racing, I'll be bronze because you're an old dude. You haven't raced for ages. You're a bronze. So I'm expected to pay the bill because I want a pro driver with me. Fine. But silver driver is someone who's kind of like in F4, that kind of level, hasn't won anything big. If you remain silver for as long as you can, it's valuable because a lot of these teams, they're allowed to have a gold and a silver. Silver's the weakest link. But if you as a silver are as quick as the gold, that's really valuable to a team. So you can imagine everyone's got to have a silver and like, oh, silvers are not very quick. But if you are fast, a team will pay for you to be in that car. Or at least they'll reduce it because they need a fast silver. So for example, I've had drivers who have won Le Mans because they were a silver with 2 really good gold drivers. Like these drivers have won at high level. This driver hadn't, just came from F3 without winning. So if you're in F3 but you haven't won anything, you're valuable in that world and they want you. As soon as you lose that silver ranking because you come too successful, then you're against all these gold people coming from F2. So there's like a real sweet spot. So you have to hit the ground running. You have to get to that level first, hit the ground running by staying a silver. And you can even protest it. If they upgrade you to a gold, you say, oh, look, dude, FIA, I didn't win that much, and they can downgrade you if they agree. But that's how you play the game now. You just have to be a very quick silver, which means you're a 20-year-old to a 30-year-old that's not done anything grand. So that's the way in. You become valuable that way. So it's a bit weird now, the way the whole system works. I hope I didn't lose you all for that. Thank you for being in the channel. That's no problem, my friend. You always say start with a small championship. How do you bridge the gap to a big one? Mate, this is so difficult. I'll give you a bit of a case study. I won't mention his name, but I'm coaching a driver who did Fiestas. Haven't really got the money. Did Fiestas. It's really hard to replicate. This is the problem. He did 4 races, I think, or 4 race weekends. Did really good. Fine. And that's all he did. Then he got an offer. He did a one-off test. His dad was like, right, we've got enough money to do a test. Because a test in an F4 car is about 6 grand for a day with 2 sets of tyres. I'm going to now do a test, try and impress this team, because this team have never won. They're barely in the top 10. So you never know. If I really do a good test, they might just invest in me. And he did a really good test. And then he did the F4 championship and won 2 or 3 races, maybe 4, got a pole position twice. And because he was up the front, putting the team up the front, they'd never been up the front before. They were usually like a P9, like I say, a P9 team, maybe the podium once, but usually P9-ish. Great team, by the way. Absolutely brilliant. But it just never had the drivers, should we say, or they have and things didn't work out. What was I saying? Yeah. The team invested in him. And then now he looks like he's got, because of that great season where the team backed him because he was putting their car up the front, he didn't have any money, completely run out halfway through the season. Now he's picked up a sponsor because of it. A sponsor's now going to pay for him to race in the same championship. Now, like I say, that's really hard to replicate, but you need that luck. And it still comes down to you. Like I say, whatever I do race, I've really got to stand out. I've just got to win. And if I can win, and if I can be a good person and they like me, they know people that can help you out. Some people can. But the next guy, say if he was doing it again now, right? going to do Fiestas, and then he asks that team for a test, they don't need him anymore, so it wouldn't happen. So it's like trying to ask, how did so and so reach stardom? Oh, they did this, this, and this, but timing was there. They happened to meet that person at the right time. It's really hard to replicate. So there's no like template. The closest thing we can get to a template and bridging the gap to the big championships is completely dominate a small championship, shout from the rooftops, talk to every team. Is there a test I can do? Is there anything there? I mean, just to give you an example of the extent I went to Spa for the 20, was it a 24-hour race? Or was it a 6-hour race? I think it was a 6-hour race of Spa. And I ran out of money because I didn't have any money anyway, but I ran out of money in the car I was racing, and they were competing at that event in Spa. And I went there. I can't remember how I got there. I think I just bummed the lift off somebody who was at the race weekend. I took a tent with me. I slept in a tent, and I had £500 in my back pocket. And I went to every single team and I said, I've got this 500 quid. That doesn't even buy you half a set of tires, even back then. 500 quid. If anyone doesn't turn up, it's better than nothing. This is all I've got. And they were just like, that's adorable. You know, most of them taking the piss. You can imagine the drivers taking the piss. I didn't care, because if anyone said yes, I was in the race. And 20 minutes before the deadline, I was in. But then they happened to find some rich guy who could do it last minute. I was like, oh, but sometimes that works. That kind of, I just have to be out there. I just have to go that extra mile. It works from time to time, but it's hard to replicate. So win, no matter what you're doing. Small championship, if you win and don't get anyone biting, you win the championship again. You become that dude who's won it 4 times in a row. Somebody will notice. If you're a good character and you're winning people over, eventually something will happen. Or you can coach for a living, coach these gentlemen drivers, take them to caterums, say, right, I'm going to be your coach. He's a wealthy guy. I'm going to go to every single race with you. I'm going to turn you around. This is why you're racing your club championship as well. Maybe with them, maybe against them, but you're coaching them as well. They then want to go to GTs. Very often, that wealthy guy will pay for you to be their teammate. So all of a sudden you're racing GTs, or you're racing something bigger, or they know you want to F4. I think I know someone who can help sponsor you. I can. So again, it's winning people over. It's winning races and winning people over. That's it. And then you hope that the timing of one of these people gives you an opportunity. Everyone's got that story who hasn't got the money they needed. They call it luck, but really it's just banging on them doors over and over again until someone says yes. And then you got to be quick when you get in the car. So yeah, sorry, it's not a straightforward answer. Thanks for making this free content. No problem, my friend. Oh, for everybody who wasn't at the beginning, I'm giving away this Haas F1 cap that I got given to me. I've got 2, but I'm keeping one of them. I was going to give it to someone as a Christmas present, but I thought actually I'll give it to someone. It's from Austin. It's Ollie Behrman's. It's not signed, I'm afraid. I can sign it if you want, but it's not. No, it's not signed. But I'm going to give it to one of you listeners, and I'll just take your details at the end. It won't be long now. We're nearly finished, and I'll send this to one of you for Christmas. Hopefully, I don't get into trouble for doing it. Have you ever come across drivers who lost their passion for the sport? Yes, and I'll tell you what. When that happens, it's usually game over. I think what happens is when you're outside it, you paint it. It's a bit like people who want to get to Hollywood. You put it on a pedestal like, oh my God, it's amazing. I would be so happy if I was there. Look at what they're doing, and you're kind of visualizing it and you're dreaming about it. But honestly, when you're there, it sucks. And it's kind of like an epiphany, like a realization of, if I'm not happy with where I am now, I've got a roof over my head. I've got money in the bank, enough to live off, right? If I'm not happy with that, ecstatic about that, I know this is a really weird way of looking at it. And I believe me, if you're in F1, living this so-called dream, you won't be happy there. Because you've got a mindset that wants more, that's not happy with now, no matter where I put you, you won't be happy. And people never get this until they get it. And a lot of the time, when people lose passion for racing, it's because it wasn't quite what they thought, because now they want to be with the other team. It sucks that that driver's got this. Why did I break down again? But I promise you, they're thinking that in F1, just as miserable as they were when they were in F4. I had this very conversation with somebody who's in F1 right now. And I said, look, when you get to F1, you're going to be bitching about the same shit you're bitching about now, and you won't be happy. Oh, no. Oh, when I'm in F1, it's different. You watch. And we didn't know they were going to get to F1 at that point. Gets to F1, still bitching about the same stuff. Still, if they had a happy-ometer in their body, in their brain, which they kind of have, a fulfillment-ometer, it's the same level as when they were in F4 because of the way they look at stuff. And Russell Brand said it as well. He said he got his first Hollywood gig. He was Forgetting Sarah Marshall, that film. It was his first gig. I'm in Hollywood. I'm in the trailer, getting ready to do the next set. But it's crap because I'm here. And when I heard that, I was like, same as race drivers. Same as anyone. Like if you're not happy with where you live now, just think of all the people that haven't even got that. They're living on the street or worse. And they look at you thinking, you ungrateful dick. You know what I mean? It's like, you've got all this and you're not happy. I promise you, if I give you another 10 mil, you'll still be there. So really weird way of answering your question. But that's the reason why the brain, they lose their passion, because it's not what they thought. It's not fulfilling them. And, maybe Hamilton's going through that at the minute. It's like, who knows what he's going through? I haven't sat down and spoke to him because I don't know him that well, even though we compete against him. No one really knows him that well. Maybe the passion's gone there as well. Who knows? But it is difficult to turn them around when they're like that, because you have to change their mental code in the way they see everything. You have to completely change that. Then start to get them to fall in love with the bits they don't like at the minute. You might reignite it, but it is difficult. And you never think it, right? You think if you're driving, you'll be happy. But again, it becomes your normal so quick. Right, a few more. Because I'm currently competing on Le Mans Ultimate. You know what? I've never done that. And I'm beating Team Redline. Good lad. I like this. And BMW Sports. Do you think I should contact? Yeah, honestly, do it. Just contact teams left, right, and center. I'm not an expert on esports teams, but I've got a few drivers that are with them. And I think most of the time they get contacted. But you can reach out to them and they'll check your status. If you're on iRacing, they'll check your, what your figures are on there, your iRacing stuff, and then they'll say yes or no, or they'll do a session with you and see if you're worthy and put you in a race. So yeah, do it, of course, because you can win money doing it as well. Just if you feel like you're ready, then shoot for the moon, my friend. Can you give a few tips on how to get decent pace on a new track you've never been to? Right then, this is a juicy one. And it could take a while, so I'm going to really take it. One way you find, to answer someone else's question from before, one way you find out how talented a driver is and how well they know how to drive a car is how quick they learn a circuit. Now, learning a circuit is easier now. I remember going to Snetterton or somewhere the first time. Honestly, I was going around for 20 minutes and still thinking, is this a left or a right that's coming up now? And I still I just don't know, because we didn't have simulators and things. You kind of had to learn on the go, walk the track, how to feel for it and stuff. But even then, you were kind of still a bit shaky. And sometimes I thought this was turn 12, it's turn 10, whatever. So now I would say drivers, they're within a second of what they optimally do by lap 3. It's ridiculous. And just to think about, again, I'm sorry I keep mentioning, but Ollie Behrman, we took him to Spa for F3, right? He'd never driven to Spa, driven around Spa before. He got all the way to F3 without even being to Spa, even to watch. We couldn't get him on a track day because there's just no testing at Spa if you leave it too late. It's a bit like Brands Hatch Grand Prix. You just can't get on the thing. So he was like, right, I'm in F3 on the F1 weekend. Never been on this track. Get this. He was P1 by lap 1. And by the time he come around and done another lap, He was P1 because people then go a bit quicker, right? As they've done 2 laps and you've only done 1. You come round and do his equivalent second lap, P1 again. He was purpling the hell out of it. Never seen the track before. These guys have probably done Formula Regional there and in their second year of it. So they've been there 3 times. He was killing them. And that makes you just understand, holy shit, now that's a good driver to be able to do that. So he's on the limit of what's possible lap 1. Just get your head around that. Now, how he did that was simulator racing, visualizing, more sim driving, not racing, looking at the track, talking through the engineer, thinking about, okay, sector 1, it's only 1 corner. It's La Source. It's turn 1. Eau Rouge is flat. So all I've got to do, so you make it really simple. This is what we did. We sat down. I've just got to get the braking right for turn 1. If I do that, the first 2 kilometers sorted. So that's it. Don't have to worry about too much. No, really no overloading. Then you get to Le Calm and you get to that section. What's the 2 points, the 2 things to remember throughout whole sequence? Right, I've got to take loads in, patient in the middle, and then try and get close to flat on the third apex. Right, done. That takes care of that whole section. And then we just made it simple. So we probably only had four more things to remember throughout the whole lap. And as long as he hit them, he would be somewhere close to optimal. And that's what you do when you learn a circuit. You just reduce it down. You don't go, right, I've got to do this at this corner. You chunk them together like these 3 corners. As long as I brake fine, brake hard, I'll be right. And if you know how the car should feel when it's on the limit, you're really comfortable with it, you take it to the limit. And that's where it is. And no one else can go further than that. There's only so much grip. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword or 2 things to it, where I've got to get the car on the limit immediately, know what the car wants, and I've got to simplify the track with all the sim driving as well. So is the third thing. You do that, you'll be surprised at how quick you can get up to speed. And obviously there's little tricks like follow someone who's been there before. So you're kind of watching them and they're kind of coaching you as you go, another competitor. There's little bits like that. But put it on yourself to like, I just know the track immediately. I can close my eyes and I know exactly what's going to happen. And I must admit, even with Ollie, there was one track, I think it was Miami. He said, because we hadn't done any sim work there, because I think it was because he was flying from somewhere else or they didn't have a good sim model. Believe it or not, F1 teams don't have good sim models. He closed his eyes and it was black, he said. I couldn't see anything. That's when I knew it was going to take a bit of time to learn this track. So I think it's having it preloaded as well before you go on, and then that helps a lot. But sims now, it's so much easier. Can Silver rank race hypercars? Ooh, good question. I don't think they can. Well, if they can, I don't know what the regs are. I'm so sorry. I've never had a silver driver in that, so it might not be. And to be honest, why would a manufacturer choose a silver driver? They need people that are from F1, from F2, that are proven, that are won. So I'm not sure if it's just by the time you get there, you're always gold or platinum, or if it's actually a requirement. I presume it's both, to be fair. So really good question. GT3, yeah, you can be. I don't high level, no, but GT3 like in British or the national ones, you can be. In fact, some of them say you need a silver and a gold. In fact, I know for a fact actually, in Le Mans you can have gentleman drivers. It's called Pro Am, and they would be silver or bronze. So yeah, you can mate. But the hyper stuff, I don't think I'd dare put the silver in there apart from a test because they're not experienced enough. Is it better to join a race team or buy your race car? Wow, I've done both. I think if you haven't got much money, it's nice to own your own car with insurance, so you don't roll it into a ball of flames. It's gone. Own your own car because then you get that money back. You can sell it for pretty much what you bought it for. If you win in it, it's obviously worth more, so you sell it for more than you bought it. So that's good. But if you don't want the drama, you just say to a team, it's your car, you prepare it, I just rock up and drive, so you don't have to worry about anything. That's also good. So it depends on your cash situation, really, and what championship. Because some championships, like F4, you don't really own your own car. because a race team at that level, even though F4 is at the bottom of the ladder, it's had all the money spent on it. They've done the things with the bearings. They've done the things with the gearboxes, the sort of stuff that when you take a car off the shelf and just buy it, it needs to be done over time. You know, they've refined it, they took weight out of it. So yeah, a proper race team, if you buy a new car, test one of their cars, it's quicker because they've done all the bits over the years, as long as it hasn't been crashed. So yeah, I'd say it depends on the situation, really. I've done both and they both work. What's the best way to find bronzes to try and partner with? Oh, wow. We used to find them. I never found one, to be fair, because I didn't even look when I was driving. Oh, actually, I did once, but it didn't lead to anything. He contacted me just because he saw me coaching other people. Another, like Plato and people like that, if you've heard of them, they found people. Phil Bennett as well was another one, touring car driver. They were working at Silverstone. They were instructors with me, actually, working at Silverstone at the race school. And you get these guys come and do their licenses, and we'll do corporate events. And you're just coaching, and you're on the passenger side as they drive, right? You just sat there all day, different person, next person, next person. And you just kick it off with someone. You get on with them. You spend the day with them. Maybe they're allocated to you for the day as they drive all these different cars and stuff. And they take a liking to you. You tell them your story. You're not supposed to. You get sacked if you do this at most race schools. But they just like, I like you. I feel sorry that you can't afford to race. And do you fancy coaching me? Because I'm just getting into racing now myself. Brilliant. The relationship starts. You get to know them. You're not using them at all. It's a genuine, like a golfer meets someone who's coaching them, and you build a relationship, and then you never know, it might lead to something. So that it's kind of, again, it's one of them things like we talked about before. You can show how people have done it, but trying to replicate it takes time in a meeting that person and circumstances. Everything has to align, but that's normally how you do it. Or it can be someone knows you're into racing, you've done a bit. Friend of the family starts racing, so and so Enzo races, he could come and coach you and help you out. The relationship starts there. So it's just pitching yourself, or not pitching yourself, it's getting to know people. So I'd say also, everybody, if you've only done a tiny bit of racing, you can start coaching at race schools. You go to if there's a race school at your closest racetrack, you can start earning, and it's probably like you probably make $150, $200 a day just being that person strapping people into cars or coaching them from the passenger side. I did that for like 10, 15 years. I think from 1998 to 2008, I was working at nearly every race school in England, up and down from Knockhill, Scotland, down to Kent, Brands Hatch. So and you meet lots of people and get opportunities that way, I must admit. What's the right? A few more. Let's have a look. Thanks, Enzo. You said always talk to people, bang on doors. What the best ways to do that? I imagine if you're racing Vs, there's no point talking to GB4 teams. Yeah, GB4 teams are, I think it's about 250 grand upwards in GB4. So it's still a lot of money, $250,000 that you need. But the V stuff, I'd go to a few races next year if I were you. Just talk to the people that run the cars. There'll be people that actually run their own cars. Maybe there's one or two small teams. And you just go and say, I want to get into it. You ask them about the details. How much does it cost? And you never know. They might say, well, we've got a spare car. It's 600 quid a day to rent it. You have to pay for the day. So like get the car there, pay for the fuel, tires if you need it, and the actual circuit hire, which is 200 or whatever. And you're off to the races that way. So I'd go there and start to just talk to the people that run the cars. That's probably the best way to do it. Banging on for sponsorship and that sort of level, you're just going to need loads of sponsors just giving tiny bits. Someone contributes a set of tires. You open up a GoFundMe page saying, you want to get through this racing season. This is your goal for the 2026. And people like me and everyone else just donate £10, £100, and it builds up over the year. You've probably seen the funding websites. Anything is worth doing, to be fair. With not being fulfilled, you mean you won't go to the top? Pick drivers, always better. Sorry, Is that not the big driving factor to always be better? You're right. Absolutely. We never want to settle. The bit that passion and the desire dies is when you start to be ungrateful, I think. I think wanting to push yourself more and getting addicted to improving and not being happy and not settling. There's many roles in life that have got two sides to it. That's essential. But it's when you're kind of ungrateful and bitching about things and never really happy on that side, you're never going to be happy. You'll find it no matter what. You'll go into one relationship and focus on what he or she is doing wrong. That won't work out. You'll go into another one, you'll do it. It just keeps repeating, I promise. But you're right. I wasn't clear. You never, like me now, I'm never happy. What's the next thing I can do? What's the next book? I'm writing another bloody book. Done these three. I'm writing another one. This is definitely going to be the best one. So it's constant. So you got me on that one. It's completely right. You never want to settle. You want more. That's the hunger. You can't stop that bad boy. But every single day you've got to be grateful for what you've got, and then you never lose the passion and you keep feeding it. And I think progress is another thing with passion. When you stop progressing and you go to the plateau thing that was mentioned earlier, that's another thing that kills it, because we are addicted to progress, to growth. It's actually one of the 6 human needs is growth. We need it. So in order to feel fulfilled, it's one of the top ones, actually. Contribution and personal growth are the top 2. So if you're contributing in some way to other people's lives, making a difference, and you're growing as an individual, passion will always be there, I promise. Right. Thanks for your advice. I'm 17. Drove a season of MX5 in Benelux. Oh my god, that's a good championship. Doing great. Just one test, fighting for wins, poles. Really good. I wasn't content. Good lad. I like that. That's the proper stuff, man. Belgium, Benelux. I've had a driver in that before. It was mental. The standard in that is really high. So you're doing well on that front. I do a lot of instructing and coaching, but when looking for a bronze, you've done this then in LMP3 or higher, do I need to look more at races themselves and people that are already involved? Yeah, you do that as well. But I'd say just offer your coaching services first. Just go through that route as literally, I'm a coach and, this is what I do. I've seen what you're doing. It's amazing what you're doing out there. I just noticed you're doing this, and you tell them what they're doing, so it's genuine, and you just build a relationship, and then eventually you'll offer your services to them, and it just grows. I really hate saying it that way because it sounds like we're using people to get in the car, but you're not. You're creating value, and you build relationships, and you just do that with everyone that you meet. You create value, and you build relationships, and they know your goal. You're not like hiding it. I want to be a race driver. And then because of all this, something usually comes out of the wash. Something is offered to you eventually. But I just can't tell you when it's going to happen. It could happen year 1. It could happen in year 8, 18. But that's the way it is. And a lot of people that I know that are pretty damn average drivers, they make good careers by just doing that. And you see them like 10 years, 15 years later, and they're still in GTs and things. You're like, it's amazing. Fair play. So it is, but it's just a long road. It's like being a stunt driver. You have years that you're really good, then years of solemn and nothing's happening, and you're without a drive, and then all of a sudden you're back again. So it's not a very secure life, put it that way. Even if you're a pro, it's not secure. Nearly there. I'm 14 and I just started karting. I'm working hard every day, and I'm willing to try harder and work harder. Just wanted to ask to make sure professional. You can make it. Oh, everybody. Someone's asking if they're too late at 14. Look, Mr. or Mrs. 14. I got my race license when I was, I think 17. I'm trying to remember. It was 19. It was in my 18th year, but I think I was 17. Then couldn't afford racing for a good 2 or 3 years. I was 19 when I started racing. I'm not saying that I'm world champion. I wasn't even that good. And I didn't make a proper career out of it because I became a coach very early on. But you're not too late. Promise you. Even if you started at 18, but you were this absolute animal, winning, people don't care if you're 16 or 18. If you're winning, you're valuable. I need you in my car because I need that car to finish first. So I wouldn't worry about it. Just keep doing what you're doing. You're super young. Don't compare yourself to these guys that are kind of like, they started at 8, they're winning national championships at 10, and all that, because that's gone. You can't compare. You're on a different trajectory. You have to figure out, right, I'm starting from here. What's my journey? Do this in everything in life. Don't look left and right because people are going to start way ahead of you, got way more money in the bank. Whatever, doesn't matter. Ignore all of them. Maybe learn off some of them that have walked your route, your particular route, and add your situation. But I'm starting from this point. What can I do this week, next week, next month, and just build. And then you'll be fine. Then you can concentrate and not stress. And if you get to 20 and you still haven't touched the track, okay, getting to F1 now is a bit difficult. But I still never say never if you're an absolute boss on the track, to be fair. Someone would sponsor you if you're just this guy with grey hair and all of a sudden you rock up and you're beating everybody if you're allowed to compete at that age. So yeah, honestly, just stay to your own thing and win tomorrow, whatever that means. Getting up, going to the gym, writing a sponsorship proposal, talking to someone new, that's still winning. If you keep winning every single day, just a little bit, you never know where you can go. Forget the age stuff. That can do one. You can't do anything about it, so you might as well forget it. So can the different sponsorships, brands raise your value as a driver if a team or a different sponsor wants to sign you, or if there's a different concept into raising your value as a driver? I don't quite understand that one. So can the different sponsorship brands raise your value as a driver? So you're talking about if it's Aldi or Waitrose sponsoring you. Is that what you mean? Explain. I've been racing in V's this year in the UK, and I can assure you it's not 600 to £2,000 for a weekend. V's isn't. I don't know about V's. I was talking about MX5s. So let us know how much V's are, because that's interesting. Please let me know. I did Formula Ford, but it was ages ago, and I'm trying to think the equivalent if I add money. Say it's double what it was when I did it. I bought the car for, I think it was 3 or 4. So say if that's more like 12 now, let's really go for it. And to do a test day, I just had to get fuel, put it on the back of a trailer and pay, I think it was 100 quid for a test day. Let's say that's 400 now for a test day. You can go testing and do it that way. Race weekends were 250. Let's say they're £1,000 now to enter, which they might. I don't think they are. It's still not bonkers money, I reckon. I really don't think. But no, it's interesting. So if it's more than £2,000, let's say it's 40 grand to do V's, then am I more correct then? If it's 40k, I still believe that anyone can raise 40k no matter what. If you've got no arms, no legs, I still reckon you can do it. Still a way. Right. Evening, people. I just want to say it's been a great season for Bearman, and that Toyota project seems promising. Yeah. Now the Bearman, it's been a rough year, actually. It started really rough because you got someone there who's as quick as anyone on the grid. I'm not just saying that because he's my driver. He really is. It's ridiculous when you look at the data and what he's doing. But it took a while to get consistency. It took us until halfway through the season to get his head around it, because there's a lot to think about in them cars. The tyres, each time you go out, you have the same tyre temperature, but all of a sudden they're not in. They just decide not to be in. All of a sudden you're all over the place. You come in, they don't really make a change. You put a new set on, same temperature, you go out, they're fine now because you probably went 20 kilometers an hour quicker around one of the corners. So it's learning all that, the grey arts that are in with the tires and everything else. It's difficult for a rookie to hit it. So it takes time. But now he's on his way, but we have to keep building because obviously there's always something to work on. But yeah, it's great. And the Toyota thing, I'm excited. We don't know what that means, of course, yet. But yeah, it's always good to have a manufacturer there, of course. Anything else before we go? Enzo, one of the biggest problems at the moment is what to offer sponsors. I know what you mean. So it's hard. But honestly, it is. Even in F4, it's difficult, to be fair. That's the hardest one, I'd say. Because how are you supposed to get 1 mil for F4 when it's not It's only on YouTube. That's why it's all wealthy people. And if you, to be honest, it's also wealthy people paying. So not all the drivers got the money. They've proven themselves in karting, or they've proven themselves in a lower championship, and they've just got someone to believe in them. Everyone's on their different routes, but a lot of them, it's just parents that have got the cash. So it is hard. How I did it in the lower club levels was local tire and exhaust place. All I asked them for was, I don't know, can't remember now, it's freaking ages ago, but probably 4 sets of tires for the season. And what I'd do is I'd get them into the local press, because I'd write an article about them sponsoring me and how the race weekend went, and they were happy with that. I would make sure I sent people there, tell them that Enzo sent you, so that all of a sudden they've got more customers earning them. Sorry, they got customers earning them more money than they're spending on my tires. So it works for them. I had to do it that way. So it's all local companies that are around me, and I could get them in the local media and stuff, and give them social media in their area. Social media wasn't a thing, but that was our equivalent. So yeah, it is difficult, but you just have to get, like, can I get 10 sponsors giving 200? Okay, it's £2,000, not a lot, but it's a start. And then someone, I have some more. Yeah, here's another 300 quid. Go and enjoy yourself. So it's got to build. So I think it's lots of littles when it's a little one. This one's supplying the fuel for the month or for the season. It doesn't cost much, but it still makes a big dent in the budget. Someone's going to sponsor you by lending you the trailer to take it to the track. And I've got a driver actually who's in MX5s in America. He's pretty much done that. It's all services, saving him money rather than giving him money, and then trying to earn the money to put into it and eking his way through. That's kind of what I did. For V's, I mean, it's £2,000. Oh, so okay, all right, it's £2,000 for a weekend. Yeah, it's still a lot of cash, obviously, to your average, to us, working class, but it's doable, right? Thanks for that, though. It's good to know it is 2K without damage. That's really cool. I wish you all the best, my bro, or my race 66, whatever gender that is. See a message on Insta. I'll have a look. What I really appreciate is you could take the time, look after the stream. Okay, I'm 14 years old. Do you have any advice? It's the last one, everybody. I'm going to record that part of the video so I can remind myself of the advice. Oh, okay, it's no question. Good. Right, last thing again. Who wants this? Let me know in the comments if you want it, and I'll message you. So this is from Austin, the F1 race. It's Ollie Behrman's, or it's basically they give us. They're only for that race. It's one. It could be a nice Christmas present for somebody. I'll send it to you. Has it been worn by Ollie Behrman? Has it got DNA? No, it hasn't. It hasn't been worn by anybody. But whoever wants it, let me know. Just put it in there or message me, and I'll let the person know who's going to get it. Thanks, everybody. I hope you all have a great Christmas. It's been a good season. It's episode 34 of the Race Driver Coach Show. It's the last one. I don't know if I'll come back next year. You tell me. But it's been a pleasure. And watch this space, because I'm bringing out a book and I'm bringing out a mental training company. And it's going to be revolutionary. Until then, thank you, everybody, for watching. I can see the me's. I'll let you know who gets it. See you next time.